Tonight on JoyNews Prime, Jubilee House staffers congratulate President Akufo-Addo following the favorable judgment delivered by the Supreme Court in the election petition.
Mr. President. Yes, sir.
There were similar scenes of jubilation at the headquarters of the governing New Patriotic Party. The justices in their judgment came to the conclusion that the petitioner could not prove his case.
The petitioner has not produced any evidence to rebut the presumption created by the publication of CI 135, for which his action must fail. We have therefore no reason to order a rerun as prayed by the petitioner as in relief F. We accordingly dismiss the petition as having no merit.
Before President John Mahama says, though he acknowledges that he is bound by the judgment, he disagrees with the ruling.
Much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decision of the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court of Ghana, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court.
In business, economists optimistic Supreme Court verdict of the 2020 election petition will not significantly change investor perception.
Outcome would not significantly change investor perception. I think they know who we are and what we are made of.
My name is Israel. JoyNews Prime is coming to you live from our Founder for Studios at Kokomlime here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. This is a home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism station. It was joy at the office of the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, after the Supreme Court dismissed a petition filed by his main opponent in the last election, John Mahama, challenging the outcome of the polls. The 7-member panel, in a unanimous decision, dismissed the election petition filed by the 2020 NDC presidential candidate, saying it had no merit. A video released by the presidency showed Nana Akufo-Addo in a pensive mood as he followed events on television with his Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
It was in the true constitution, which provides that a person shall not be elected as president of Ghana unless at the presidential election the number of votes cast in his favor is more than 50% of the total number of valid votes cast at the election. End of week. Subsequent correction, had any adverse respondent was 6,776,792, which gives a percentage. Cast was 99,436, out of which the petitioner obtained 52,034, increasing his national total valid votes to 6,266,923. Valid votes cast as 13,220,547. That's into bracket 30,121,111 plus 99,000 of 9 December 2020 is also unconstitutional, null and void, and of no effect whatsoever, and therefore liable to be set aside. 28. On 10th December 2020, inadvertently used the figure of 13,433,573 for the total valid vote cast. The said release claimed that the total valid vote cast is not 13,109,000 since to be valid.
The mood in the office changed immediately. The verdict went the president's way, with the vice president and some staffers taking turns to congratulate the president.
In all his ways, most wonderful, most sure in all his ways.
was when the president's legal team for the petition, including Akoto Ampao, Frank Davis and Yao Pong, a few hours later arrived at Jubilee House to officially inform the president about the outcome of the petition. Now, with the petition out of the way and his legitimacy grounded, President Akufo-Addo was back at his desk, and first to call was the Nigerian ambassador to Ghana, Dr. Aliseni Osman, who is ending his diplomatic mission in Ghana.
For me, it's somewhat of a sad day that you've come here with this message, that you are leaving us. You've proved to be a very supportive and cooperative ambassador of your country. You've served your country very well here in Ghana. And these historic relations between Ghana and Niger, which you've alluded to, you've done your very best to promote them. It has been done in a manner that I appreciate very much. Between our two countries are very long-standing. And we have here, as you yourself have noticed, a very significant community of Nigerians who have been here, who are part of the fabric, the social, cultural, and economic fabric of our country for generations. We've always welcomed them with open arms, and we continue to see them as brothers and partners in the mutual development of our two countries.
So let's go back to the moment when President Akufo-Addo was congratulated by his staffers and the Vice President.
Mr. President.
The 7 judges who heard the John Mahama election petition say no evidence was adduced to back the claim that none of the candidates won more than 50% of the votes. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has the rest of the story.
The reaction of lawyers for President Akufo-Addo shortly after the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, ruled in their favor, dismissing the petition filed by John Mahama. The Apex Court, in its decision, read by Chief Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah, analyzed the evidence and concluded that 2 of the witnesses, the evidence were not relevant to the determination of the issues, and so also proceeded to state that the evidence provided by the petitioner failed to prove that none of the candidates who contested the 2020 polls won the election.
The right to vote is at the core of our democratic dispensation, a principle I've affirmed in this opinion with reference to the Tenadi and Ahama Okansi line of cases. End of quote. Conclusion. We conclude this judgment by emphasizing that the petitioner did not demonstrate in any way how the alleged errors and unilateral corrections made by the first respondent affected the validity of the declaration made by the chairperson of the first respondent on the 9th December 2020, as already stated in this judgment. The petitioner has not produced any evidence to rebut the presumption created by the publication of CI 135, for which his action must fail. We have therefore no reason to order a rerun as prayed by the petitioner as in relief F. We accordingly dismiss the petition as having no merit.
Of 7 justices of the Supreme Court. And I want to say, for the purposes of emphasis, that no matter the sartorial elegance or glamorously attired and adorned, a provocative misrepresentation of the correct legal position is the naked truth. And I repeat, the naked truth shall always prevail, as loudly pronounced by the highest court of the land. Need I say, the battle is still the Lord's. Thank you.
Amen. So that is the end by way of the election petition filed by the NDC's John Dramani Mahama. It remains to be seen whether a review will be filed or not. Reporting for JoyNews from the Supreme Court, my name is Joseph Akable.
Well, former President John Mahama has disagreed with the judgment of the Supreme Court that he failed to prove his case, that he deserved the rerun of the 2020 election between himself and the MPP's Nana Akufo-Addo. Reacting to the judgment hours after the verdict, he, however, acknowledged that he will be bound by it.
I disagree with the suggestions of our justices that an election petition is akin to any other civil litigation, and therefore an EC chairperson whose functions go to the heart of our democracy can, by a legal sleight of hand, avoid accounting for her stewardship in an appropriate forum such as the highest court of the land. Our legal team, led by Mr. Chatuchikata, put together our case in a clear manner, which left no one in doubt about the issues that were at stake. Apart from seeking to ensure compliance with the Constitution and for the true choice of the people of Ghana to be respected, the petition sought to provide opportunity for transparency and accountability in the management of our electoral process. But no one who followed the proceedings of the Supreme Court will be surprised with the judgment pronounced a few hours ago. Much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decision of the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court of Ghana, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. For the avoidance of that, I say, much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decisions of the Supreme Court, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. Ladies and gentlemen, our 1992 Constitution says very directly in Article 125, Section 1, that justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. I believe that law should not be an instrument for partisan purposes. I also believe that the rule of law should mean one rule for all. What anchors the rule of law is equality and fairness to all, irrespective of creed, background, or political coloration. Justice, we must remember, is rooted in moral foundations.
He criticized the refusal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, to testify.
Even though the petition to the Supreme Court stood in my name, it nonetheless represented the desire of an overwhelming number of Ghanaians, anxious for answers from the chairperson of the Electoral Commission as the returning officer of the December 2020 presidential elections. Ghanaians were hoping to hear her testify, and many are still baffled by the refusal of Mrs. Jean Mensah to be held to account by testifying in this case, unfortunately with the unanimous agreement of the justices of the Supreme Court. The vital part of the process to establish the truth and hold Mrs. Mensah accountable was blocked time and again by a protective cordon and firewall that I'm sure has confounded many Ghanaians. The refusal of this chairperson is in sharp contrast to the readiness with which Dr. Kwadwo Afarijan, then chairman of the Electoral Commission, willingly testified in the 2013 election petition filed by then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo of the MPP. Speaking as a Ghanaian with no legal training, I believe that the refusal of the Electoral Commission chairperson to testify in this election petition leaves a very bad precedent for the future.
The President also questioned the neutrality of the EC chairperson.
As I've alluded to in the past, the current leadership of the Commission was installed after the politically motivated removal of the previous Commission. Since then, every step they have taken has appeared to be calculated at ensuring the retention of the appointing authority in power. Aside from the compilation of a new register in the midst of a pandemic, one that many civil society organizations, political and governance experts insist was more procurement-minded than needs-based, the time-tested process of consultation and dialogue among stakeholders through the Inter-Party Advisory Committee was supplanted by unilateralism. This has not boded well for harmonious relationship with stakeholders. Compared to the two previous leaderships of the Commission, what we have now does not meet even the minimum requirement of neutrality and non-partisanship. And these are two essential principles for consolidating our democracy. Today, the much touted independence of our Electoral Commission exists only in name. This should give all Ghanaians cause for worry. Today, we still have, as a member of the Commission, somebody who publicly stated that the political party which I led into the December 2020 elections is an existential threat to Ghana's democracy.
Mr. Mahama criticized the conduct of the 2020 election and what he says was the use of the security agencies to intimidate voters.
It can easily fit into the worst forms of electoral trickery ever witnessed in our nation's history. Despite the shenanigans employed by the conspirators in this issue, it is abundantly clear that the rights of the people of South to vote was intentionally violated as part of a move to ensure the predetermined election outcome of a particular parliamentary constituency. This represents unparalleled abuse of power by both the government and its handmaiden, the Electoral Commission, to influence the outcome of the parliamentary election in that constituency. It is even more staggering that no one has stepped forward to take responsibility for this unjustifiable action, nor indicated any clear remedy for the harm that has been caused the good people of Sao. We cannot, as a people, countenance this kind of gerrymandering and chicanery in our politics. We must with one accord demand immediate resolution of the impasse in the Sao area and take urgent steps to afford the people their right to vote and be represented in Ghana's parliament. My brothers and sisters, we entered the 2020 elections against an incumbent that was determined to abuse power and misuse state resources and institutions to achieve an electoral victory. The run-up to the election and some of the process involved were characterized by intimidation and harassment from state security agents and others loyal to the current regime. Selective deployment of the military was used as a tool to instill fear in some of our citizens to dissuade them from taking part in the voter registration exercise and other processes of the elections. Others were falsely branded as foreigners and their citizenship called into question unjustly. An abhorrent nation-wrecking prejudice which has been directed especially against certain ethnic groups of this country and has continued till date and has only recently been visited crudely on our Auditor General, Daniel Yao-Domelevo.
Now let's get back to the judgment delivered by the Supreme Court and the issues that they determined in arriving at that conclusion that there wasn't enough evidence, or the petitioner didn't deduce enough evidence to indicate or to deserve a reround of the election. Now, the court held that the petition disclosed a reasonable course of action. The court explained that the petition alleges a constitutional breach which must be carefully examined. Such an allegation is fit to be decided by evidence and is therefore not frivolous and vexatious. The court ruled that per the data contained in the EC chairperson's declaration on December 9 and the cross-examination of Johnson Isidun Ketia, it is obvious that President Akufo-Addo got more than 50% of the votes cast. Now, this threshold of more than 50% of votes cast, the court also stated, is maintained by Mr. Akufo-Addo with or without the results of Techimang South constituency. It held further that the EC's declaration of Nana Akufo-Addo as winner of the polls does not breach the constitution. It concluded then that the allegation of vote padding involving some 5,662 votes were not proved, neither would it have had an impact on the results of the poll. The petition was subsequently dismissed as lacking merit. There was spontaneous jubilation by NPP supporters across the country as they welcomed the verdict of the Supreme Court on the 2020 election petition brought by John Mahama. Addressing supporters who were trooped to join the celebration at the party headquarters in Accra, the leadership of the NPP maintained that the verdict of the Apex Court only confirms the victory of Nana Akufo-Addo as a representation of the true will of the people. Manuel Cranting was at the party headquarters and has filed this report.
We've been welcoming the verdict of the Supreme of the New Patriotic Party. We've been welcoming the verdict of the Supreme Court and assuring the base of the party that they are going to mobilize and even deliver a bigger win come 2024. They make the point that the NDC's defeat at the hands of the NPP is going to get worse come 2024.
I believe we worked hard for victory 2020, and we were confident that as a party we secured enough presidential votes to win the presidential contest, and also secured a lot to win the parliamentary majority as well.
I mean, are you not concerned that, even though the Supreme Court says that these allegations have not been proven, they still hang there, and the EC did not respond to them. The EC chairperson did not take the stand to respond to the allegations.
First of all, it is clear that you cannot compel a witness into the box. In any case, the EC closed this case. That of the President's legal team and that of the NPP also closed their case. And in any case, the Electoral Commission was of the clear view that what the people voted for was what they declared. And once the NDC disagreed, they were entitled to legal options. Today, the matter has been settled. There's no ambiguity about that at all.
Chairman Freddie Blay, for instance, made the point that they knew that all of the time that was spent in court was just to waste the time. And this was really emphasized by the General Secretary of the party, John Bwedu, making the point that they had worked tirelessly for the victory that they had secured, as was so declared by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission on 9th December.
Have come to the end of what we all know as a terrible waste of time of the people of this country. Initially, they said they won the elections, John Mahama won the elections, and that the election has been stolen for Nana Akufo-Addo. He was urged on by the Ghanaian people, because I know that he wouldn't have gone to court. Because he knew right from day one that they've lost the elections. When they were pushed by the Ghanaian people to go to court, they ended up in court saying that they didn't win the elections and that nobody won. The witnesses that they brought, the court was very charitable to two of the witnesses, that their witnesses and the things they said there was fanciful. Because through the cross-examinations, he accepted that Nana Akufo-Addo, whether Techimang South votes were given to them or the valid votes gotten by each candidate were correctly given to them, Nana Akufo-Addo got not only more than 50%, got 51% plus of the.
Residents of Kumasi have been reacting to the verdict, with many saying it was expected. Law firm Sarasu Sasara Donko has more.
The ruling is the best so far.
My expectation, it is unfair.
Whatever they say today
we take it in good faith. So on
the streets of Kumasi, the verdict of the Supreme Court has been received with pockets of arguments on the streets. There are those who think that they were not expecting anything different. They knew that the petitioner's case held no water, and so they were expecting that the Supreme Court will give a verdict in favor of their president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And so they are happy about it.
The judges have done a very good job. They have delivered on their promise to judge the case within the stipulated time. Secondly, they, given a unanimous decision, tells that justice has been served, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, if it had been like what we saw in 2013, then you would have said, okay, they had some amount of a case. But unanimously, they're saying that the case should be dismissed, which means that the petitioner could not prove in any way that there is a case. So I think the unanimous decision goes a long way to tell. And in fact, we've really made history as a country, and it's really going to go a hard way to deepen our democracy.
The ruling is the best so far. From the beginning, from the genesis of the case, we saw that Mahama has lost, but he was forcing. But still, we all know that he has lost. So the judgment is the best.
I feel pity because this is not the way that I expect it. I went there to vote peacefully and to choose a leader. But this is what we are observing now. And it is unfair for a country, Ghana, by this time, have to be fighting for just a simple issue like this. Yeah, it is. I'm not delightful about the process.
As compared to that of Nana Akufo-Addo, you see the vast difference. There's vast difference. Now the petitioner brought in a person, the person of the vice president, to come and sit in as the petitioner. This one, the petitioner itself did not come in. Brought in witnesses. How will this be? So personally, I think they just went there to sustain their support from the NDC party faithful.
They are the highest people in Ghana here that when we have a problem, when we go to them, they are the last hope for us. So whatever they say today, we take it in good faith.
On the other hand, there are people with a school of thought that they were expecting the Supreme Court to erase any doubt in the mind of Ghanaians by allowing the Electoral Commission boss to mount the dock and be cross-examined to remove any doubt from the minds of people.
In fact, it would have been very prudent to have forced the EC chair into the box, just to clear the public doubt. However, based on the legal deliberations, the defendant felt that you, the petitioner, have not been able to substantiate your claim.
Watching JoyNews from we're taking a reverse still ahead in the bulletin in business. Economists optimistic the Supreme Court verdict of the 2020 election petition will not significantly change investor perception.
This outcome would not significantly change investor perception. I think they know who we are and what we are made of.
Stay tuned in, we'll be back in a bit.
Hello, good evening. It's time for business. I'm Charles Ide. Economist Professor Peter Korte has expressed optimism that the Supreme Court's verdicts on the election 2020 petition will not significantly change the investor perception. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision today, affirmed that President Akufo-Addo was validly elected as President of Ghana. By speaking early on with my colleague on Business Live, Professor Korte said that this will not have any worse impacts when it comes to foreign direct investments.
Well, in every mature democracy, the integrity of the elections that affects the outcomes, and therefore, when that happens, people have confidence in the economy, people can invest, they can plan and invest and put resources to promote economic activity. So credibility of every election is quite key, very critical for every investor. I think this is not the first time we've had election petition, and also we've had democracy since for the past 2 decades or so. We have a matured democracy. If you look at the African continent, I think our democracy has come a long way, and therefore the investor community, even before this outcome, believes in Ghana's economy. Those who plan to invest will look at other things: growth prospects, demand for their goods, population, macro stability, and of course, economic political stability is also critical. But I think the business or international community or investment community knows that we will not jump on the streets with guns and fight ourselves as Ghanaians. That doesn't happen. We use the legal systems to address our grievances. So this outcome would not significantly change investor perception. I think they know who we are and what we are made of.
Now, the Star 787 hash lottery has guaranteed 5 winners 2,000 cedis monthly salary every week for 12 months from this Saturday, the 6th of March. In addition, it also says that 50 players stand the chance of winning 200 cedis each and every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. There is more in this report.
787 is a lottery company that rewards customers with huge sums of money every week in various jackpots. Yusuf Abdul Karim Al-Hassan, a Tamale-based entrepreneur, has emerged draw 66 week 9 unique prize winner. He won 20,000 cedis last Saturday, a week after the 328,000 cedis jackpot break. At the check presentation at NLA 787 headquarters in Accra, Yusuf Abdul expressed his excitement.
I went through the net to find out the games on the net, and then I went down specifically to Ghana. Then I saw a number of codes that were meant for games, to which I tried a number. Then I came across this Star 787. And that's just how I had it.
Now you've won this amount of money. Can you tell us how you feel at the moment?
Oh, I'm very excited. In fact, beyond bounds. I can't explain to you how excited I am. Yes. Because that 20,000 there can do a lot for me. It's genuine. It's good. And I entreat people to go and then join, to come and join, stake it.
Head of Customer Experience, Richard Akotobanfo, in an interview explained further on the new jackpot his outfit has introduced.
In this month of March, Star 787 is saying happy independence to the entire Ghana. And as a part of this, we are running a campaign where you stand a chance to win 2,000 Ghana cedis monthly salary, which starts this very Saturday. We are saying dial Star 787 hash to buy a ticket worth 5 Ghana cedis only. You can equally buy more to stand a higher chance of winning. And with this ticket, you can win 216,000 Ghana cedis jackpots this very Saturday, and equally make the same ticket win you a monthly salary for a whole year worth 2,000 Ghana cedis. My very good friend, you won't get this from anywhere, only Star 787 hash. Just pick your phone now, dial Star 787 hash, and then participate, and it could be your turning moment to win big with Star 787 hash.
That'll be it for business for this segment. Coming up next is sports with Gary L. Smith. To stay.
Thank you for staying with us on JoyNews. Prime time now for the sport. I'm Gary L. Smith. And in the developing story involving Adriana Stars player Farouk Adams, he's been charged on 2 counts by the Bono Region Police after he crashed a cop to death. The defender has been charged with careless and inconsiderate driving and negligently causing harm. Our Bono Regional Correspondent Precious Semevo joins us via Zoom for the latest update. Thank you very much for your time, Precious. Thank you very much for your time, Precious.
Yes, Sir Gary, I can hear you.
Yes, I mean, so we've got, reaction from the police and everybody else. But tell me, how are people taking the news in the region?
Well, it's not been such a pleasant news for the football, fraternity, and particularly the general populace, to take this. Many they've expressed their worry with the way and manner the Sabo, lost his life in that fatal accident. Some have said that such a young man whose parents probably might have toiled to push him through to the level that he got to, only for him to end his stay on this earth at the age of 23. It should be a big blow to the family, and indeed some family.
Okay, so yes, Precious, if you can hear me quickly, can you let us know what the latest is about, the case being moved? We understand that it's been moved from one part of the region to the other.
What happened was that yesterday, when the Bono Regional Police charged him on those 2 counts, as you rightly estimated a couple of minutes ago, it was to appear.
All right, the audio from Precious is a bit poor, and we'll try to resolve that and come back later. However, as you know, we are celebrating Ghana Month here on Joy News, and today, Legon City's striker Hans Kofi shares his cultural roots. Oroku Ampofo has been speaking to him about some part of the western region.
I come from the western part of Ghana, a village called Dompin Pepisa in Takwa. That's where I come from.
So when was the last time you went back to your hometown?
Well, early last week I was there. Last week, I think the weekend I was there. I spent the weekend over there. So
it's a place you love to go?
Yeah, I love to go. That's where my family is. My wife and kids are there, so I always pay them visit over there whenever I have the small chance.
So growing up over there, how was it like?
The feeling is great. Yeah, it's very great feeling when you are coming up with your friends and family members. But this job, whenever I like to be there, you go somewhere, play, travel outside and stuff. So whenever I come down, the little chance I have out to be there, and I'm enjoying with my good friends.
But back there in the Nzima land, you guys speak Nzima, right?
Yeah, we speak a language called Pepisa.
Pepisa?
Pepisa.
Okay, how different is that from the Nzima?
It's similar to Nzima. When somebody is speaking Pepisa, you are Nzima, you will understand it, but some few words will miss.
So it's almost like Guy and Kobo?
Yes, something like that, something like that.
Okay, so teach us something small in Pepisa that we can also say.
Yeah, like, let's go in Pepisa, we say, Yeho.
Yeho. So it's similar to Chi.
Yeah, so
okay. So let's say watch JoyNews in Pepisa LSE.
Benia JoyNews. Benia JoyNews.
Benia JoyNews indeed. So finally, at 8:15, it's a big game. Liverpool hosts Chelsea, and the lineups are out. Let's quickly take a look at them, at what the two teams are parading in this game. This is the away side. Chelsea look like this: Mendy, Aspilicueta, Christensen, Rudiger, James, Jorginho, Kante, Chilwell, Ziyech, Mount, and Timo Werner. For Liverpool, the home side, it's Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Kabak, Fabinho, Robertson, Wijnaldum, Jones, Thiago, Mane, Salah, and Firmino. Two teams, two strong lineups. The game kicks off at 8:15. That's your sport for now. We'll try and raise Precious on the other side of 8 when he's back, and when I'm back again with more sports. Thank you for your time.
Right, it's time for Showbiz with Becky Bex. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you, Balaye.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. We're still in the Ghana month. We're still celebrating everything Ghanaian. And so this evening, or today, we take a tour across the western region.
About the both road. Hey, whoa.
Western Fue, what's up, Bazi? West side, Beseminadia, Osenzoe. Today, let's pause and have a taste of the popular local delicacy, acheke, before our tour.
Delicious Ghana acheke.
Yummy. All right, Let's begin our tour from Mzulezu, a beautiful village that overlooks Lake Tadani and is entirely made up of silts and platforms. The view is amazing and very much recommended as one of the places to visit at least once a year. For the beach lovers, the Western region has the best of beautiful beachfronts and widely known also as one of the best holiday destinations in Ghana, like the Buzia Beach Resort, Blue Moon in Axim, and many others. It is not surprising that some of Ghana's biggest musicians hail from the region. Many of them, like Jubilation Ambule, says his music and style is largely a result of the influence of coastal life in Takoradi.
I started way back in secondary. That's where I was born, that's where I schooled, and that's where I entered into music.
The region has always produced many other legends like Papa Yankson, Joel Aka, T.H. Fokwajes, Kofi Kinata, and many more. The region has many festivals like the Kundum, celebrated by the Ahantan and Nzuma people in the West Coast. Aww.
We have lots of nice places.
Yeah, would you like to take a trip to the Western region?
I've taken a trip there before, but yes, I'd love if you're going to pay.
Of course, you know, of course.
So you're paying for a vacation for me in there?
Yes, Blue Moon or something. Just, you know, spend the weekend with Auntie Lou. Let's move on. Let's talk about Kelvin Boy's Black Star album. He released it 2 months ago, and a lot of people think that the album didn't do so well, but we spoke to Kelvin Boy. My colleague Doreen Aviud spoke to Kelvin Boy, and he says that, see, the album is doing so well.
Black Star, drop this.
It's been released like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
It's getting to 3 months, so I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, and the videos are doing well. You know, some of the songs were released before the album launch. And
the fact that people are saying that maybe the album failed to get the recognition it needed. So it's not like, it's not out there in the faces of, they like, you know, you wanted a certain kind of attention. You want people to,
that they think,
course.
Okay, all right, they get.
Yeah.
You get me, but you understand. So, but you appreciate what you have and what you get. That's it. Best do it right. You understand?
So for you, it's not about.
The last time I checked, when you mentioned Kelvin Boy, hey, India is Star be international. Hey, no be here. Hey, India in team.
Black Star featuring Ifya, right there. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you too for bringing us Showbiz.
Award-winning JoyNews Prime. Thank you.
All right, that'll be it for those of you who are watching on Joy Prime. There's more news on the JoyNews channel. Do stay tuned in. Co-chair of Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, has reacted to President Akufo-Addo's decision to officially retire former Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelovo. Speaking on Prime Morning, Mr. Senanu could not hold back his tears when concluding his position on the matter. Before we get into that, let us get into details of the letter that retired Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelovo got. It was signed by Secretary to the President, Nana Asante too. It reads, the attention of the President of the Republic has been drawn to records and documents made available to this office by the Audit Service that indicates that your date of birth is 1st June 1960, and that is in accordance with Article 1991 of the Constitution. Your date of retirement as Auditor General was 1st June 2020. Based on this information, the President is of the view that you have formally left office. Mr. Johnson Ekuame-Siedu will continue to act as Auditor General until the President appoints a substantive Auditor General. The President thanks you for your service to the nation and wishes you the very best in your future endeavors. And it's signed by Nana Asante, Secretary to the President. Now, to Edem Senanu, individuals like Mr. Domelovo must be praised and not chased out of office like the President has just done.
I would like to send a message to Mr. Daniel Yadomlevo on a day like this, that on behalf of my sector and the teeming masses of Ghanaians who like to see the right thing done, men and women of faith and conscience, who matters of integrity, hard work first. We want to salute him. Perhaps we will have a Daniel Yadomlevo Day sooner than later. We may not find tangible ways to be able to express our appreciation for what he has done to demonstrate that we can rise above the fray. We can have men who, irrespective of what is thrown at them, they are willing to do what is right. I'm emotional. Daniel, I'm done.
Well, here are some of your views on the retirement of the Auditor General.
Since he was in office, why is it that they didn't raise those concerns since he was appointed? Now before this, he's come to continue his duty before they are raising this issue. Because I don't think they have a fair, they have a case. So they should rather withdraw, then he continues and end his term in office, so that everything will go on successful.
Right. Technically speaking, if it's not date of birth, I saw one which was 1970, that was 78 or 76. Yes. And then I saw the 1996 one, which if the date of birth on his records is 1999, he's still supposed to be there till June, somewhere in June. No, yes. They are not valid. They are not valid. Looking at their utterances and their communique, I think they are trying to find fault where there's none. Okay, yes, so that the guy will get out of the place.
A new PCR machine has been installed at the Cape Coast Metropolitan Hospital in the Central Region to help test and issue COVID-19 test results quickly. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, says this will help eliminate delays associated with the testing and issuing of results. The PCR machine, which costs $120,000, is the first in the Central Region. Rachel Kodjonyakun was there and has come through with this report.
So we are here at the Cape Coast Metropolitan Hospital, and this is the first PCR machine that has been brought here. According to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, this is a step in the right direction to help test people that are affected by COVID faster and to enable them get their results very quickly in order for certain decisions to be made.
I think at the beginning of the COVID, we had challenges with the delay in testing with a large backlog. And so one of the efforts was to scale up and expand the access to tests. We brought in a private, we expanded a few more labs, public sector labs, Tamale, Bolga with and other machines to ensure that we are able to test quickly and isolate. Cape Coast still remain a big challenge because apart from the gene expert machine at the Metro, we do not have any PCR machine that was relevant. So when NALEX offered to support us, we said that well, Metro provide the best environment, not only because we don't have, but also we have a lot of schools here, with schools reopened. We have as a tourist attraction. We want to make sure that anybody who's coming here will know that should there be any problem, not only can they be treated, but they cannot be made diagnosis, and that's why we made the effort.
He also threw more light on the inoculation exercise that is being conducted across the country.
It's been wonderful. We've had more than 3,000 vaccinated in the very first day, which is quite unusual because of the way it's done. Everything is electronically guarded, and so each vaccination takes time. We should be able to get enough information to be able to track the same person for the next vaccine, and so it's not the usual vaccine that you drop in the mouth or eject and go. This has to be very elaborate, and we know that globally there may be some requirement to show proof of vaccination, and so we're taking all that into consideration.
the Central Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Akosua Sapon, has been explaining the breakthrough this PCR machine will do for the people in the region in terms of the COVID-related issues.
Yes, it raises that challenge, you know. Within a short time, people can get their results, and then we can start managing, we can start isolating. So it is a very good thing for Central Region to get. We have other tests, but PCR is the first in the region.
So from the Cape Coast Metropolitan Hospital, my name is Richard Kwejunyako for JoyNews.
Now, some districts in the Ashanti region are recording oversubscription of COVID-19 vaccines. Health officials say many people who do not fall within the categories targeted for the first phase are flooding vaccination centers to get a jab. 150,000 AstraZeneca vaccines were received by the region for vaccination in Greater Kumasi and parts of Obuasi. Nana Anjima visited some centers and filed this report.
Persons above 60 years, others with underlying conditions, and staff of health centers take turns to get vaccinated as the exercise entered day 3. 112 teams are stationed in different health facilities and other institutions to undertake the vaccination. The Efija Kwabre South District has already recorded oversubscription of the AstraZeneca vaccines. At least 200 persons have tested positive for COVID-19, with some still receiving treatment. At the district, 25 centers are selected for the administration of 5,500 doses, which are far below the population. District Chief Executive Christian Edupoku says the assembly, after the launch of the vaccination exercise, have received several requests from communities.
We set the pace to let the public know that there is nothing untoward about taking the vaccination. And I think it has sunk well into the community. And now people have been calling, asking where can they get access to the vaccination centers. And like you rightly said, because we did it here at the health center, the health directorate is here. We thought it wise to locate one of the centers here. Then all the health centers within Efija Kwabre South have also been given the opportunity to exercise the vaccination. Then even private health facilities have also been given the opportunity to also execute the vaccination. So all well and good. Things are going on well.
The Askwari-Mampong Health Directorate received 17,500 doses of the vaccines. All 12 vaccination centers continue to record high numbers. Reverend Solomon Anum Doku is Municipal Director of Health Services.
It seems that many people who are not falling within this category have even come to vaccinate. And because of that, we screen and then we ask those people who are not falling under the category to fall out so that we are not vaccinating them now. Because until we finish, if there are vaccines around and we are asked to extend to them, we will definitely do that.
The first phase of the vaccination exercise is reaching 5% of the total population of Ashanti region. For JoyNews, Nana Ojima reporting.
Now we're going over to Parliament now, where the House is considering the second report of the Appointment Committee that vetted President Akufo-Addo's ministerial nominees. Kwesi Parker-Wilson, a parliamentary correspondent, joins us right now with more on that. Hello, Parker-Wilson. So you tell us, what's it been like, or at which point are we at this point? Hello, Parker-Wilson. If you can hear me, you tell us what's happening in Parliament right now.
Hi, so Israel, currently as I speak to you, the minority leader, Haruna Adusu, is on the floor debating the second report of the Appointment Committee, recommending the approval of 16 other nominees. You know that yesterday the committee approved 13. Today they are approving 16. And in the committee's report, we are made to understand, or what is captured in the report is that it is by consensus. So what it means is that all the members of the Appointment Committee agreed by consensus that they should approve all the 16 nominees. So what's going to happen is that after the debate, if the other members of parliament do not have any disagreement with regards to the report and make a strong case why the report must be put to further scrutiny, the speaker will conduct the voice vote, and when the voice vote is done, the approval will be given. So that is what is happening currently here on the floor of Parliament. But let me quickly run you through the nominees who are likely to be approved this evening. The Minister for Trade and Industry, the Trade and Industry designate, Minister designate Alan Chemantin. We also have the Health Minister designate Kwekwa Joman Menu, also Communications and Digitization Esla also Ekofo. So these are among other nominees who will be approved this evening.
All right, now, Park Wilson, so it comes on the back of yesterday's adoption or approval by Parliament of the nominees. And of course, it was a protracted debate that went way into the night, into the following, to this morning. Now, there's been some fallouts from that, which is there's been a rebuke of the leadership of the minority in Parliament, and it's coming from some significant persons in the party, one of them being the communications officer of the party, Sami Jemfi. And I'll bring you, in a while, what he put up on his Facebook post, and it clearly indicated that there were some members of the party that are not really happy with the turn of events. So it goes, comrades, the betrayal we have suffered in the hands of the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Aban Bagbin, the leadership of our parliamentary group, particularly Honourable Haruna Idrisu and Honourable Muntaka Mubarak, and dozens of our own MPs, is what strengthens me to work hard for the great NDC to regain power. They brazenly defied the leadership of the party and betrayed the collective good for their selfish interest. And we must not let them succeed in their parochial quest to destroy the NDC, the party that has done so much for them and all of us. The shame they have brought on the party will forever hang like an albatross around their necks. These are hard times for all of us, but we should not let the betrayal of a few quench our love for the great NDC. Rather, let it strengthen us to fight for this party. We all have an equal stake in this party. They are few, we are many. Some have sold their conscience, but ours is intact. And we can work together to rebuild the party from the ashes of 3rd March 2021, which I call Black Wednesday, our day of self-inflicted shame. This is a time for us to insist on the right changes in the leadership of the minority of the NDC group in Parliament, or forget about them completely. The current leadership have lost their moral authority to lead and are not fit to sit on the front bench of the NDC side of the House. Now, Parker, this clearly, I want to find out from you, what has been the reaction from the NDC MPs and as well as the leadership, if you've spoken with any of them?
The NDC MPs tell me that indeed they have cited that communication or statement from Sami Jemfi, the National Communications Officer for the party, and they are extremely disappointed. They are unhappy with the comment made, because the argument they make is that this is clearly inciting the grassroots against the members of Parliament on the minority side. In fact, one of them shared an experience with me, which he didn't want me to disclose his name, but he made a point about going to a popular fufu joint at Abaka this afternoon. He tells me when he got there, he saw some young men. They identified him as an NDC MP, so they approached him, demanding or asking for reasons why they voted for the other 3 nominees, particularly Mavis Howe Kumsen. He tells me that the aggression and the anger in their voices compelled him to sit in his car and drive back to Parliament. So when he came, he reported the matter to the leadership of the House, just for them to understand the seriousness of the issues out there. So I am told that tomorrow, the NDC leadership of the House will address the media and also put forward what they have to say, whether in response to the comments or the concerns raised by Sami Jemfi, or as to what really happened that led to the approval of the other 3 nominees. And Israel, one would also say that now that has come up to the floor, that the other 16 nominees have been recommended by consensus. Again, there might be some concerns by the grassroots that, again, the NDC MPs have betrayed them. So tomorrow, we'll hear from the leadership reasons or what really transpired before approval of the 3 other nominees. But clearly, they say they're not happy with the comment made by Sabi Jeffrey, the National Communications Officer of the party.
All right, so it's all about, and I want us to go back to yesterday or the proceedings in the House and the approval by majority vote or majority decision of the ministers designate. So there were 3 of them that they had to vote on. And the reason I believe the NDC, the people, the members of the NDC that are unhappy with the turn of events is that they look at the outcome of the vote, and it's clear to them that there was some minority members who voted with the majority to approve some of the nominees, the ministerial nominees. So if you take Dr. Owusefrie Akoto, for instance, so he had 143 votes against the minorities 121, and then there was 1 spoiled ballot. Hawa Kumsing, she had 161 votes and then 104. For Hawa Kumsing in particular, most of the people are wondering, how come you had some NDC members who clearly voted with the MPP? Have there been any explanations?
Any proper explanation to that, Israel, but sources within the minority tells me that even though the leadership agreed to whip them in line, some of them were having conversation about regional consideration and alliances they have with some of the other members of parliament. But tomorrow, the leadership is going to address all these concerns as to why Mevizao Kumsen would obtain 161 votes, representing 60.75%. And if you look at the figures, she's the only nominee who secured more votes than even Kojo Ponkroma, who is the Minister Designate for Information. He secured 58.65%. So these are issues that the leadership of the minority will be addressing tomorrow, as against the allegations that they've sold their integrity and betrayed the party and also defy the orders of the party.
Now, finally, Parker, we're not expecting or anticipating a similar turn of events this evening, because as you're indicating, the nominees that are before the House for consideration this evening are all going to be approved by consensus, right?
Right, so that is the recommendation by the appointment committee or from the appointment committee. So all the members of the appointment committee, including the minority, by consensus, recommended the 16 nominees for approval. So what it means is that the NDC and the NPP on the committee have agreed. Now, if you come to the committee of the whole, where now the matter has come before them and they are now debating the issues, looking at some of the questions the nominees answered, their posture and all of that, if a member outside the appointment committee raise concerns about the decision of the committee and makes an argument, in fact a solid argument, to convince the speaker that the decision by the appointment committee is not the best and must be put to proper scrutiny, that is when there's going to be a controversy. So if he's able to convince the speaker, and at the discretion of the speaker, they can put the issues or the nominees to a vote. They're going to conduct voting processes on them, and that will lead to either approving them or perhaps kicking or rejecting the nominee. But if that doesn't happen, what it means is that the speaker will just put the question about whether the House agrees to the approval of all these 16 nominees. If the ayes are louder than the noes, then the ayes have it, and the speaker will rule that indeed these 16 nominees have been approved by Parliament. So that's what's going to happen. So we've not gotten there yet. Let's look at how things transpire, and when we get there, definitely we'll bring our viewers on what is happening here in Parliament.
Now, but Parker, considering that at least one member of Parliament has voiced his disquiet about the turn of events yesterday, it's likely that this member of parliament or with the minority will raise this issue again.
Yeah, it is possible, looking at the pressure, looking at the allegation and accusation against the NDC members of parliament. It is possible that any member outside the appointment committee, because if you're a member of the appointment committee, you cannot challenge a decision which was collectively taken by the committee members or by the members of the committee. And so a member outside the appointment committee has the prerogative and the ability to do so. So if that is done, then there will be the controversy and the voting will be done. But if the minority members outside the appointment committee are equally satisfied with the recommendation by the committee, then there's no issue. They'll just go ahead and approve them.
All right. Thank you very much, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, bringing us that update there from Parliament. And we'll be keeping an eye on the debate in Parliament and we'll bring you up to speed should any development come up. Now, parents who have their children in the Osu Presby cluster of schools are happy that finally the Municipal Assembly is set to relocate their children into a new classroom block. The new block was left unoccupied because government had not paid the contractors. The pupils had no choice but to study in a rather poor environment. MC of the Electoral Municipal Assembly, Ni Ejay confirmed the keys have been handed over to his office. Judith Awuchwe-Tando has more in this report.
This is the norm every hot afternoon in the Osu Presby School. The situation is even worse when it rains. Education is an essential element to the growth of children. However, when teaching and learning occur in such poor environments, it compromises effective learning for students. In this deteriorating structure, while the new classroom block remained unused for the past 4 years. As JoyNews reported this story, the municipal chief executive of the Electoral Municipal Assembly promised the keys of the block will be handed over to the assembly in a week's time.
Once you reconcile things, it will come to the same level at the end of the day. And if everything goes well, I won't be surprised that next week we may have the keys to the place and we can start cleaning up for the children to go.
Indeed, the keys of the completed Osu Presby classroom structure were handed over to the Assembly on Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021, but not entirely. MC of the Electoral Municipality, Ni Ejay says preparations are being made to finally usher students into the new block.
God on our side, we've been able to deal with all the issues. So all the other arrangements to make sure we have the furniture for the place. And also, this building was completed, I think, in 2018. And it is now, it has overgrown weed all over the place, and all that has to be sorted. We went there with the cobwebs that has to be cleaned, mopping, various things have to happen. We are hitting the ground round and getting the place ready straight away.
Residents close to the school are excited about this new development. They are, however, calling on the Municipal Assembly to ensure that students are moved into the new block immediately.
I feel good because the children were in a PG hole. Now they are in a good building. At least at the end of the week, Monday, they should be in the building.
We are so happy they finally brought the keys to the school. We are also happy JoyNews reported this case for the school to be open because it's now filled with weeds. Parents are waiting with bated breath for the relocation of the children into a new environment. Judith Awuchwe-Tando, JoyNews.
Now, there is one indigenous Ghanaian food with multiple popular names. Many people make faces and claim to dislike this delicacy. But oftentimes, this food is heavily patronized and usually the first to get finished at local eateries. The question remains, if many people dislike this food or this meal, who are those consuming it? In our Ghana Man series, Insure FM's Ubide Share Ufuriamanfo celebrates this indigenous Ghanaian food.
Today at Obaya's Choba at Krofo in Kumasi, we want to celebrate a particular Ghanaian indigenous food with many names.
Face the wall. Chris Brown. Minima betie konkontene banche yedwa ya hata no. Nti e kan na ya betie. Lapewa. Krama break. Amferwase. Tapioca. Brown.
To fully understand the process of konkonte making, I took a trip to cassava farming community in the eastern region, Kwaubanka. Farmer Abinabima explains the process begins with the harvest of cassava.
You can use it for konkonte. This one can serve about 2 people.
The cassava is then peeled and cut into smaller sizes before being washed and dried.
It takes 1 week for the cassava to dry up.
The dried cassava is then milled before cooking.
After milling, the powder is mixed with hot water on fire, stirred until it is cooked.
Auntie Efiasewa has been selling konkonte for the past 20 years. Her youngster's choba at Asafo in Kumasi is a big joint for konkonte. Auntie Efia says the business is very lucrative.
People patronize abetie a lot, and it gets finished before other foods. They prefer abetie to banku and mutu and get worried when they do not get it.
CEO of Obaya Choba wonders why people claim not to like konkonte, but the meal gets consumed earlier than any of the food on the menu.
It has health benefits since it is of less starch because of its drying process. People buy fufu in addition to konkonte and prefer to eat them together. Ghanaians like konkonte.
It has many names. Face the wall.
Self-acclaimed konkonte ambassador Erastus Asari Donko digs into the meaning of some of the names of konkonte and why he likes the delicacy.
It's a type of food that people don't want to associate themselves with. They think that is a poor man's food and all that. I beg to differ. And so previously when people are eating abetie, you see that they will get to the corner of the chop bar and they will face the wall so that nobody will see what they are eating. So it ends this name, face the wall. But you see the original names that I came to meet, abetie, kokonte, laprewa, that's the name of the food. But as time went on, modernization and this all that, they saw the food, it looks brown in color. And so some likened it to the name of the American singer, Chris Brown. So he got his name Chris Brown from that one as well. And I bet you, if Chris Brown were to eat kokonte, he will love it. Perhaps that's the reason why it's called Chris Brown. But you see, the other side where people of today, when you mention abetie, laprewa, kokonte, they will go like, as if they don't like it. But when you go to the chop bar, that's the food that just finished, first.
A lot of people claim they do not like abetie, but when you go to chop bar, that is the only food that gets finished as early as possible. I'm a very sure for around for
Sapa Jimmy, the best dope.
Right, so what I've been wondering is why anybody will call it laprewa, kokonte called laprewa. In Gado, it's Gigi. Yeah. All right. A break here on JoyNews Prime. Next, we're bringing you more businesses to stay tuned.
And of course, in business, you should brace up for a hike in prices of goods from the major markets. The decision by the shipping lines to increase the tariff and other port charges becomes successful. That's coming from the Ghana Union of Traders Association. And according to them, if the shipping lines go ahead to charge new fees, the cost will be passed on to the consumer because it will affect their profit margins. Let's listen to the Vice President of GUTA, Clement Boateng.
It's a major stakeholder. We are the movers and shakers. We import every product into this country before, our brothers, sisters, wives, children, are able to, access those products. So whenever there's an increment which, will add cost to doing business, it becomes a major blow to us. And as you know, we are not Father Christmas. So whenever there is an increment, definitely we will pass it on to the customer or the consumer. But to what extent, can we be doing that? Otherwise, prices will always, goes up.
Does it mean if this becomes possible, you pass it on to them?
Definitely. And this is the situation that we want to, avoid. Because when it happens like that, it does not augur well for trade facilitation. This increment is also part of trade facilitation. It does not, make doing business free. It is a cost. And that is what we want to, avoid. And you see, if you want to even increase something, there are rules and procedures that you have to go through. The law says that if you want to come out with things of that nature, you must notify the regulator 3 months so that the regulator will call for a stakeholder engagement. We all sit down, we judge all, and then we arrive at something. But you can't just wake up one day and say you have increased your tariffs. It doesn't work that way. And this is something that they've been doing always. And this time around, we will not allow them to have their way. We will resist any attempt by this increment. We will not accept it.
Now, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, has expressed confidence that the COVID-19 vaccination campaign will ensure a positive economic rebound. This, he believes, will stimulate business growth and lead to revenue mobilization. The Commissioner General was speaking to Joy Business after he took a COVID-19 jab at the head office of the GRA in Accra.
The Ghana Revenue Authority was forced to revise its revenue target for last year due to the outbreak of COVID-19, which affected many businesses in the country. According to the Commissioner General, Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, the smooth vaccination campaign ongoing will pose a positive signal to the recovery of the economy. He therefore used the opportunity to urge the business community to avail themselves for the exercise.
It will also go a long way to ensure that we'll be able to recover in terms of business, recover in terms of activity, recover in terms of being able to have more confidence in going out there and getting the job done. And eventually we'll see the economy recovering. So I think it's very important that, and I want to commend the government of Ghana for the work that has been done and for the project that is going on and for the opportunity given to so many Ghanaians to get involved and get vaccinated. Everything that we are doing is making sure that, like I said, we are all up and doing and being able to get involved in all our business activity and ensure that we don't have the economy going down. So definitely it's a step towards making sure that revenues will come. Because at the end of the day, if we are working, if we are gathering and doing our activity, if we are being able to do our business, then we'll get revenue. And these things are also expensive. And therefore we need the money to be able to fund even what we are doing today.
On his part, Commissioner of Customs Kendall Kwejo-Damwa retired called on all stakeholders at the ports to collaborate with the authorities to get all persons vaccinated to avoid any outbreak.
The ports as a community has several other stakeholders. It's not only the customs division. So our expectation is that those who also do businesses with us on daily basis will also have the opportunity to have these vaccines as time moves on. We know that it is not easy to get everybody vaccinated because the numbers are limited. But the expectation is that as the government is showing so much interest keen interest in trying to get as many vaccines as possible into our country sooner than later. Other stakeholders may also have the opportunity to be vaccinated.
About 300 staff of the GRA are expected to receive the vaccination each day until the end of the first phase. Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, has signed an agreement with the National Association of Registered Midwives to offer its members on the controller payroll a special UMB controller loan product of up to about 150,000 cedis. This will be spread over 48 months at a competitively low interest rate with a turnaround time of 48 hours. There is more in this report.
The newly introduced UMB controller loan for the National Association of Registered Midwives Ghana forms part of the many financial interventions UMB has rolled out for government workers and customers. This will offer them the needed financial cushion for their personal needs, especially during these turbulent times. CEO of the bank, Nana Jumobene, says the agreement is in the interest of both parties.
UMB, we are very excited with this partnership because, as you know, UMB is a Ghanaian indigenous bank with a strong heritage. We've been here for 49 years in Ghana, serving the Ghanaian people and partnering with the National Association of Registered Midwives, who are 6,000 strong midwives. It enables us to be able to share financial services to them at an affordable price, which also now enables them to meet their financial requirements. And this for us is what is exciting, because we aim to be partners with our clients. And as partners with our clients, we have to look at their financial needs and design things around their financial needs to meet their requirements. When we started the conversations with them, we knew that price was something that was very important to them. We also knew that they wanted to maximize the amount of facilities that they can take. And we also knew that household appliances, etc., were things that they were looking to purchase and procure. So this agreement has taken all that into consideration, allowing them to take a bit more in terms of their affordability, reducing the prices, both the interest rates and the fees, so that it becomes a bit more affordable.
President of the National Association of Registered Midwives Ghana, Letitia Atia, commended UMB for the timely financial intervention, as the loan product would help alleviate the financial burdens the pandemic has brought.
Realize that UMB Bank, their customer service are very good. They are the best in the sense that their interest rate is the best. We went around and we compared and we realized that they have the best interest rate. And they are friendly. There are some banks, you even be there when you are talking to somebody, the person will be looking somewhere. But they were so friendly to us. They followed us and made us to understand the processes and the interest rate. That is why we are here.
And tonight on Money Lab, Director of Financial Literacy for Africa, Dr. Richmond Frimpong, talks insurance claims.
On Money Lab today, we want to learn a new term in insurance, and it is called exclusions. For many people, they get very disappointed when the incidence of that risk has kicked in and they've made their claim, and the insurance company or broker or agent is telling them that we are unable to give you anything on this because it doesn't cover. This is where you must understand what we mean by exclusions in insurance. Exclusions, in simple terms, just as the word, are the items that the claim or the policy you took doesn't cover. And so when you go to your insurer, ask him about the exclusions on the particular policy you choose. Why? Because then the policy doesn't cover that. You can't make a claim on that. It is excluded. So when you look at your exclusions list, you'll be able to tell the specific items or cases that the particular premium you are paying doesn't cover on the day of that bad event. So understand exclusions and you would appreciate why your claim is what it is.
And that'll be it for business. Sports is up next.
Thank you for staying with us on JoyNews Prime.
Sports here. I'm Gary Al Smith. First story is that Hearts of Oak's board chairman, Toby Afede, has explained why coaches exit the club unceremoniously. The latest, as you know, was Kosta Papic, who left and accepted a job in South Africa within 24 hours of leaving. Toby Afede says he was surprised.
A lot of reasons have been assigned to coaches leaving Accra House of Oak. Try, as we always did, to present the truth. The truth has always been conveniently ignored. But let me say it once again, and I'll start with our former Japanese coach, Kenichi. It's always been said, we sack Kenichi. We've said it time and again. Hopefully, this would put a stop to all the allegations. Kenichi, in the middle of the league, approached management for a study leave to go and pursue a course of study that will last for several weeks. Right in the middle of the league, with many matches ahead of us, Kenichi decided he had to travel to study and insisted that either he left to study and come back or he was resigning. We were left with no option because a club like Accra House of Oak cannot or could not have allowed its coach to go away for study. It's never happened anywhere. So, you know, he was quite rebellious. There was not much we could do, and he left. And we were blamed for having sacked him. No, that was not the case. Okay? Of course, it's true that Coach Nuttall had issues with the board for his dealings with some of our players. Yeah. We want to trust everybody we engage. And we try to establish that trust by delving into the background of the particular person we are engaging, and of course, having extensive interactions. His behavior was quite an exception, something we had never experienced before, and we don't hope to experience again. More recently, we lost Coach Papic. Papic, after a string of poor results, decided he did not have a solution for turning around the fortunes of the club. He had talked about player rebellion against him, division among players, allegations about him.
Now, about 500 boxing fans will be allowed into the Bukom Boxing Arena for the fight between Sheriff Kwe and Michael Ansah. The boxers will be fighting for the third time, but the Chief Executive Officer of Box Office Promotions, organizers of the bout, say only a handful can watch the fight due to the pandemic.
Sheriff Kwe and Michael Ansah's trilogy was suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic following the lifting of restrictions on contact sport by the government of the country. Promoter of the fight, Alex Ntiamwa, tells Joy Sports an opportunity to put together the fight brings happiness to the boxing community.
It's been a year now that this third episode of the fight between Michael Ansah and Sheriff Kwe clash, but it was due to injury of Michael Ansah, and we postponed the fight to May 30th. But the reason was that the reason why it couldn't happen was the outbreak of COVID. Now we have an arrangement that government said we can have boxing or sports with 25% of the spectators come. So we are prepared very much for this fight. In terms of security, in terms of the boxers, it's been about 3 months now that they were preparing for the fight. And you could see today, you could see from their physique that they have trained very well, they are on weight and they are preparing. And so I believe it's going to be an exciting night on March 6, 2021.
With COVID-19 pandemic still in the system, many had anticipated that the bout was likely to happen behind closed doors. However, Alex Ntiamwa says they are going to make available 500 tickets for boxing lovers.
It's supposed to be part of the celebrations of the independence anniversary, but due to COVID, we are restricting it to about 500 paid tickets, so that the other numbers can accommodate the workers and the boxers and their teams on the night. We are bringing a very good security from the Ghana police. They have come to have a look at the venue, Sereki, to see what arrangement that we are doing. We are putting in place that you have to sit 2 seats apart. When you are seated, there should be 2 seats between you and your next person sitting next to you.
Sheriff Kwe and Michael Ansa have won their previous fights 1 each.
All right, so Liverpool and Chelsea still 0-0. Liverpool were lucky because Timo Werner scored a goal that was ruled offside after it was checked via video assistant refereeing. So that's the sport for now. You'll be getting more details on that match with Hans Mensandro at 10:30. Gary Alsmith, thank you for your time.
All right, then that'll be all for the bulletin. I'm Israelite. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.